How's it going, Rip City? Welcome back to Blazer Fanatics. I'm your host, Duvy, with co host Boozy. Before we begin, I would like to say thank you to True Blazer Fan on YouTube for letting us use his highlights because the NBA in our last two videos hit us with the old copyright claim. Jokes on them, we don't make money anyways, we're broke, so not getting any dollars out of us, NBA. How you doing, Boozy?
I'm doing very well, doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. This week, we are doing a game preview because we haven't been able to really give a good recap since the two Grizzlies games got postponed due to the Grizzlies having COVID issues. So, the Blazers tomorrow night on Sunday host the New York Knicks at 7 p.m. The Blazers open up as 3.5 point favorites. How do you feel about this game, Boozy?
Well, it's those those games that got canceled against Memphis could be, helpful for us as, recent injuries have happened and with limited preseason getting as many practices in as you can, could always benefit a team. And with the Knicks, going on their West Coast journey, playing Golden State and Sacramento on Thursday and Friday, that helps Portland. They coming into a game playing 3 games in 4 nights, it's never easy. We've done it. We came out flat against the Pacers, and you saw the result. Um, but I get that also plays into how the Knicks have played this season. They were 30th in scoring at, right around 103 per game. They like to slow the pace down, shoot, but they're not the greatest percentage wise. And Portland's the complete opposite, top five in scoring. Worst defense, everything. So it's kind of like opposites attract in this game, and it really depends what play style is set. Because if Portland doesn't come out and set that quick play style, I don't have good odds that we could pull out a win if we play that slow New York Knicks basketball.
Yeah, Portland has to absolutely set the tone, in my opinion, because the Knicks, the last 10 games, they've averaged under 100 points, but they're also only holding their opponents to 101 per game. So that really tells you the type of play style they play. They like to get into the half court, like to play really gritty, kind of almost like a 2013 Memphis kind of grit and grind type of system. Guys like Julius Randle will beat you down in the post, and they will just run half court sets against you all day and just beat you up. So I think with Portland playing faster, they have a good opportunity here to, I guess, tire out the Knicks and really run up the floor on them and just sprint. Blazers move fast. We're a better conditioned team because of how we play, and I feel like we can take that to our advantage.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw how Covington played against Anthony Davis earlier in the season, something that, Randall really isn't up to Anthony Davis's, stature quite yet. But that's, it's a different play style. But I think if Covington can, play similar to how we played against AD, I think that bodes well for us. And then having Derek Jones on Barrett, they're two, main scorers who have been going off pretty much every game for them outside the one game where Knox went off. Um, those two are their leading scorers, and if you can, hold Barrett to shooting, subpar percentages like he had throughout his rookie year, it could really help, get Portland off to a quick lead. And this Knicks team is not the team that can come back from big margins. They just can't score that efficiently and that effectively. So, we've seen Portland get off streaky early, Dame shooting some threes, getting hot early. I think that's the biggest key. Like we both said, just setting that tone early and hitting the right shots, playing defense. And if you get off to a quick lead, I don't think the Knicks can come back from that.
Yeah, one threat that the Knicks do pose is their rebounding. Mitchell Robinson is a big boy down low, and
Yeah.
he's gonna give Enes Kanter a run for his money because Kanter is not known to be defensive rebounder. So, if Mitchell Robinson has a really good opportunity here to kind of feast against Portland because our two big defensive guys are going to be focusing on Barrett and Randall as you said. So Mitchell Robinson and Enes Kanter is going to be one matchup to really follow. Um, Kanter is going to have his work cut out for him against Robinson.
Yeah, and I think just another thing is just seeing if, Hood can stay up, shooting as well as he did in this last game. If they can do that, I think there's a good matchup for him going up against, I would assume, Bullock as his, a little smaller guard that he can, post up and do all that against. So I think Hood's definitely the X factor on offense. Again, it's and Gary Trent off the bench as well. He didn't have a great, outing without CJ, but it doesn't mean that he can't come back and go off for a couple days rest. Get some shots up during practices, get your momentum back. I mean, that can always help a player as streaky as Gary Trent is, and with that type of grit and grind defense that the Knicks play, I think that kind of goes well for Gary Trent because he loves physical games. He always loves playing against Utah, those types of teams where he'll get up in your grill and, most of the time the refs, let these games play out a little bit more. And I think that could ultimately help players like Jones Jr. and Gary Trent on the defensive end to, get the passing lanes, get some steals on ball and get out to the fast break and see more alley oop dunks out of Jones Jr., which we all love to see.
Yeah, Jones has a really good opportunity with his athleticism and his speed to have a good game against the Knicks tomorrow. I think getting out on the fast break and capitalizing on those opportunities is going to be really key. Uh, one thing of note for the Knicks, no Austin Rivers tomorrow night. He's out. He's been good for them this year, so they'll be looking for maybe another piece to fill that void. Obviously, the Blazers still without Nurk, McCollum, and Collins. Uh, so guys like Gary Trent, like you said, gonna need to step up again off the bench because I would assume rotations are gonna stay the same. But putting up what 21 in his first start,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't expect anything to change on that front. So you know, um, going into tomorrow night, the Blazers open up at 3.5 point favorites. Do you think we cover the spread?
Yeah, I think final score 111-105 Portland. What are your
So,
thoughts?
so let me ask you this. So you do think it's going to be a lower scoring game? Do you think the Knicks are going to get us into that half court set a little bit?
I think what's going to happen is the first quarter is going to be a high scoring one.
Hmm.
And I think as the game goes on, I think it will start slowing down to being more of a defensive game. And I think the ending will definitely be this. I think the fourth quarter is going to be the lowest scoring quarter, just with both teams focused on defense. It's Tom Thibodeau's style, fourth quarter lockdown time when you got your best 10 players out there on both sides. That's when the best games happen. Fourth quarter usually can go either way, high scoring or low scoring. But I think with how the Knicks have been playing recently in the fourth, I think it will be another low score.
Yeah, you definitely could be right. I mean, defense is going to be the biggest factor in this one. So, I'm kind of thinking, I think it all depends on how we handle Julius Randle and Robinson and Barrett. Of course, it's kind of their big three as of right now. But I do think we pull out the win. I think we could be seeing. I feel like it's gonna be a little more high scoring. I think we're gonna be able to set the tempo. Still one of the best offenses in the league. So I kind of see it. Maybe like a 123, 119 type of score. I think it's going to be close. I feel like we are going to have a lot of problems with Mitchell Robinson, and I feel like we are going to have problems on defense. Um, but if we can play our game and we don't let them get comfortable in their half court sets, you know, I'm not gonna say we're gonna blow them out because that's
It's a Portland fan. We never do that.
it's us, yeah. I mean, we'll blow them out in the first quarter and then we'll let them come back and then they'll blow us out and then it'll be a close game. That's how we like to do things around here. So yeah, I feel like it's gonna be a close one, but if we are willing and able to run and gun all game and we're hitting our shots, you could see potential blowout there because I don't think the Knicks can really play that style.
That's exactly right. So you know, I we hope that it could be a little high scoring game because I don't think the Knicks have the weapons, especially with Austin Rivers out. He's one of their bench guys who comes in and is just instant score, which this just plays well into Portland if they can get Dame hot, Rodney Hood hot early, and play to their system. Terry Stott's great system, as we all know.
Offensive genius, Terry Stotts.
Yes, yes. I it really depends who sets the tone because this could either be a 120 plus game, like you're saying, or it could be, maybe not even hitting 100. So
Well,
it's gonna be.
and I'm looking at this Knicks defense, and aside from Alfred Payton, who I don't really see anybody who's gonna stop Damian Lillard. I don't really see any defenders. Obviously, Dame has to shoot well because he's not gonna get a whole lot in the paint with Mitchell Robinson camped down low. But I don't really see anybody who's gonna stop him if he's hitting shots. I don't see a perimeter defender on this team that's gonna lock him down. So we could, potential big game alert from Lillard, honestly. I
Yeah, and I
mean,
think this also kind of goes into like the personnel. I mean, you would never expect looking at on the paper seeing the Knicks being a defensive team. Obviously with their coach, but just with the players, you would never think that they would even have the ability, to hold other opposing teams to low 100s per game. That kind of shows how big of a role the coach does play in
mhm.
how a system is ran, how a team's ran. So let's hope Portland can adjust. Obviously, it's worked for the Knicks. They exceeded expectations so far this season. So hopefully we can take some tips from them defensively, and take on a guy like Tom Thibodeau's great defensive schemes that he's had throughout his career, and maybe implement them against them. But I guess we'll see tomorrow night.
Yeah, it should be an interesting one. Two clashing styles of basketball going up against each other. That is going to be all from us tonight. We are both predicting a Blazers win, because we're optimists apparently for once. And we thank you guys for watching. Once again, shout out to True Blazer Fan for the highlights. We will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.